Okay. So what screen you people are seeing now? Hello, I'm audible.
Yes, Sadish.
Uh, which screen you are seeing? Is it a presentation one?
Yeah, DevOps.
Fine. Okay. So let's get started. Okay. Welcome everyone for the DevOps training. Myself Satish Ramamurthy. So I'm the mentor of this DevOps training. So I have 14 years of experience where I have end-to-end development and operations and cloud computing experience I have. So let's get started. Okay. So agenda of the meeting. So we are going to learn why the DevOps, talks about the agile and why we need to about the DevOps intro and why DevOps first of all, and then DevOps technologies and tools in DevOps. What are the tools which we are going to use it? Okay. So, so what is SDLC? SDLC is nothing but software development lifecycle. So when I say software development lifecycle, in early stages when the SDLC, uh, when SDLC, started, and we used to majorly following the waterfall approach for any project development activity. So what is waterfall? So in 19 to 2020, 10 or before, so we used to follow the SDLC approach, which is the waterfall approach. Let's say we wanted to create a small website, which is a google.com. Okay. So if the customer asks, like, say, hey developer, I need this particular website need to be created. So please let me know what I have to provide information. So as a team, what we will do, we will just go with the requirement first, which is the first set of waterfall approach. So we'll go with the requirement, and once the client is provided all the information about the project, and then we'll just evaluate the requirement, we'll finalize, then we'll go for the design, right? So once the design, which is the UI team or UX team, which will be generate the wireframe or some sample image of the project look and feel. So once the design is completed, and then the development team will be get into pitch, and they will be start developing the application. So once the development phase is completed, then we'll go for the implementation, which is a deployment or implementation. So once the implementation done, you will be handing the product to the customer. So if the customer says, like, everything's great and the requirement is matched and which is 100% very clear, and we are done the project, right? This is the waterfall approach. Let's say I wanted to develop a small cycle, which is cycle is the project, right? I wanted to develop a cycle, whereas I have, used my wheel as instead of circle. If I developed as a square, and there is no proper braking system, and there is no proper design. So what the customer will tell? Hey team, what you have done? Do you think with a square shape of wheel will go? No. Then why did you develop? And this is the requirement mismatch, which means requirement understanding or miscommunication. So what we will do, we will go with the again the requirement phase. That is a waterfall approach. You complete stage by stage, and at last you deliver to the customer. Customer say, sorry, this is not my expectation. This is something different what my expectation. So you have to go back to the same waterfall approach, and then gather the again requirement and do the design again, and then do the implementation, coding and maintenance, and then we'll do. This is the waterfall approach where the customer point of view, which they will get the product in a year or 2 years or 3 years of the duration of the project, which will be headache for the customer to get the product. So instead of that, we have agile methodology. So the agile methodology is a way to manage a project by breaking into several phases. So if I wanted to develop a small cycle, so what I will do, I will just go with the the first wheel. Okay, so what kind of wheel? So what is the inch, whether it's a R13, R15, R16, everything. So we'll just finalize everything. We finalized, and we'll go for the design, and then we'll implement, and then we do the coding, and we'll deploy, and then we'll show the wheel how the look will be. It's a piece by piece, right? So the customer as a stakeholder or product owner, what they will do, they will just see the product. Oh, this is something really good. Oh, no, something, no, you have developed with the wrong data or wrong shape. So I wanted to correct this. So within a short period of time, where you are doing the requirement, where you are designing, where you are doing the coding and implementation, at last a customer will see able to see within 15 days or 1 month of sprint. Okay, they can able to see the wheel. So that is why we are majorly using agile methodology. So why we need to use agile methodology in DevOps? By default, agile methodology, it's a methodology where you can improve the project management or project performance. So when you get into the agile with the DevOps, where you have a set up the sprint. So in agile, for any software development, we'll use Scrum board, Scrum methodology. If you are working on any, 1 second, guys, I just need to insert my charger. Okay, so Agile, there are two familiar methodology. One is Scrum board, another one is Kanban. So when I talk about Scrum board, majorly it will use for the any software development, right? So when I say software development, every day we will be having, have a Scrum call, which is a daily stand-up call. So the Scrum basically it used a sprint. For example, if I want to develop a tire. So I will gather the requirement, and then I will do the design and implementation coding. So by end of 15 days, so agile can be used the sprint, which is called iteration. So every 15 days is the iteration. So anything, if you are taking any piece of project, you have to complete within the iteration, right? So that is how the Scrum board will work. Whereas a Kanban, it's the project maintenance, where you have a developed some project where you wanted to maintain the project, like you can use the Kanban board for any issue tracking or bug fixing. So this is the things we will use for the agile. Okay. Okay. So we anyway, this is a part of the training, right? So where you have a big picture of Scrum board and then Kanban. It's just a high level of agile methodology. Why you wanted to include in the DevOps. You will get to know by after 2 to 3 slides. Okay. So now we'll just talk about DevOps. So DevOps, it's a set of practice that combines a software development and IT operations. So I hope majority of people believe like DevOps, it's a kind of uh, deployment or do the operation work. by default software development, which is that is why we call DevOps. So you need to understand the development first. So you need to guide the development team how whenever they're going with a different direction. So you will be the person who guide the development team. See, for example, let's say we have 4 GB RAM and 2 core CPU, right? Where you can able to run 100 customers of single website. Okay, where the development thought like where they are going to have a 16 GB RAM and 8 core CPU, right? Where they thought like with the developing the particular application I can able to run 10 times, which is 10,000 users can able to run this particular machine. That is a thought. So you you will understand what is the maximum capacity of the machine can able to run concurrently. So you will understand the networking, you will understand the cloud, you will understand the deployment approach, when it fail and why it's fail, and why we not to use the particular configuration. It is a process. So you have to you just need to guide the entire team to the process to automate the CI/CD, right? So when I talk about continuous integration and continuous delivery, so what is continuous integration? So continuous integration, it's a life cycle of the particular the process. Whenever there is a developer, right? Whenever there is a developer who done the code changes, he wanted to validate some changes into the development environment, right? So may I know who's fresher here, who's don't have any development understanding? Hemna, guys, please more interactive. That's what I'm expectation. Who development experience? Who don't have a development experience?
Yeah, Satish, I'm a new guy.
Okay, okay, fine. So let me tell you, for example, let's say Hemanath is the person who joined into the team. Okay, there is a product which he wanted to develop a calculator application, right? In that calculator application, there is a plus button wanted to do addition. Okay, whereas we have a Gautam who's the same project and he is working on the subtraction or multiply button. Okay, now in early stages like 1990 or between 2005, so what how the company worked, how the company was worked like one second, how company was worked like they use a floppy disk or pen drive or CD to write the changes, right? That is a very early stages to share the code between the developers. And now after some time they started using the network share path. So the network share path is nothing but where we have a physical machine. The physical machine will be placed and it will act as a centralized file system management server where you have a access and Gautam has access. Let's say Gautam completed the multiply button functionality, then he will copy the code and paste it into the some folder. Okay. Now Hemnath will done the changes for the addition and he will copy the code changes and paste it into the the same folder. Let's say so both are different file. There is no issue. Let's say whereas other developer wanted to use or wanted to update the same functionality what other two people are working. So the third person when he tried to work, he might get the latest, he might not get the latest. For example, today I'm a third person where I need a additional functionality, where I need a subtraction functionality. So if I try to access the data, only I have additional data where I don't have a subtraction data. So I need to wait the particular developer to copy the particular functionality into this server, right? So I got the both functionality. I done my changes. Again, I uploaded to the same repository. There is an issue which they wanted to know, take a look, right? And they can't understand the what the third person is did. So how they will work? It is very difficult for them to understand the code or copy the changes. And whereas the developer A working on some changes, developer B working on some changes, which they are working individually, there is no issue. When developer A, developer B working on the same issue where they want to collaborate, it is very difficult to maintain in the network share part. That is how the innovated software came, called source control management, which is SCM. Okay. So the SCM, it's used the same network path, whereas it is placed a small software. It's called software source control management. It's a Windows application or Mac application, whatever. So that particular application will restrict to commit. For example, let's say developer A commit some changes 1, 2, 3, and developer B commit changes 3, 4, 5, 6. And when the developer 3 wanted to commit the changes, that particular software will ensure like whether either you have a 1, 2, 3 and 4, 5, 6 commit ID placed in your machine. So if not, then you need to take a latest, which means SCM pull, so that you can able to get the latest and work or override the application, then you can commit the changes. So that is how the SCM was working. Only one repo can, which means only one branch, which means the development can be worked. If you want to work for multiple branches, there is no option in the SCM. So in order to fulfill the future, that is why the Git is king. So Git have an option where you can able to maintain your multiple branch and multiple repository, right? So the same scenario we have that in network share path, and the Git is equivalent to the SCM software, whereas the Git will use for the single repository can maintain for multiple branches or multiple environment. I hope clear why how the Git it's innovated. Is everybody clear?
Yes.
Yes.
Okay. So we talked about the Git, how the Git is came from the legacy application to the innovated application. Now, why we
So,
need to understand
um,
the yes, then
Satish, I have a question here.
yeah,
So, what is Git like? It is a bunch of commands list, or it's a separate software, or how it is integrated with the DevOps? How it plays a role with DevOps or source control?
sure. Yeah. Anyway, that is our next thing, which is in GitLab.
Uh,
So I will just continue the DevOps thing, then we'll move on the GitLab. Okay.
okay.
So when I say continuous integration is nothing but you have done some changes or you have developed some piece of code, right? Where if you wanted to validate some scenario where we have a license, right? Uh, for example, what kind of license? Let's say when you are trying to develop some software, you need a license. Visual Studio, you need a license. Or if you are trying to develop any other application like the the audio video editing software, you need a license. Same way, there are some scenario after you complete your code, you cannot evaluate that particular changes is working or not in your local environment. there are some projects where you can able to evaluate within your local machine, right? So why we need a continuous integration? To ensure that whatever you are doing your code changes, when you are merging your changes to the existing repository, we will evaluate whether your changes does not break anything in order to perform the continuous delivery. So when I talk about continuous integration, it's nothing but a piece of task, a piece of task. So what the task contains? The continuous integration, first it will download your code, right? Your latest code will be downloaded. Once it's downloaded, and it will ensure, it needs to ensure like whether this particular downloaded code capable to build. So what we will place the next task, we will run the application or we will build the application. So while building the application, we will get some exception or any warnings or security vulnerabilities. Three things we will get in the while doing the build, right? Once you build it and once the build is success, then what we will do, we have to generate the output package. So in development world, there are the state mean by you need to just understand the computer. Computer only understand zeros and ones, where if you write the program in Python, where you don't need to compile anything, right? For example, if you are developing a .NET application, you need a compiler, because .NET is the programming language where it cannot directly readable by machine learning. So what we'll do, we will have a engine, that is a CLR, Common Language Runtime. It's a engine where it will be placed as a service software, where it will decode your .NET language into the, I mean, it will convert at the runtime from your DLL library to, which means your output package into the runtime machine learning. That is how the compiler will work. Okay. So now the continuous integration, once the output package is done, then we need to upgrade, we need to store that particular output into some places. Either you can use some network share path, either you can use any online storage, either you can use any repository. There is an option called repository, which called package repository, that we will talk about in upcoming session. Okay. So that's about, so there is a three tasks. One is Git, which will be download the latest changes of the what developer commit, and then we'll build it. And if it is success, then we'll package, which means we'll publish the particular project into the understandable by machine learning. And then that package will be stored in some storage with some specific version number, which is version 1.0. Okay. Continuous delivery. Continuous delivery is nothing but the delivery your software with a high quality and easy to ship. For example, let's say, um, who knows HTML? I hope everybody have an understanding about HTML. You have developed some HTML, you have developed some CSS and JavaScript, right? So you have just basic HTML website you have with me, which is just an index.html file. If you wanted to run that particular into some website, what you need to do, you have to manually copy the particular files into the destination server, right? So through that, if you are doing this process, so there is a manual person has to do the action, the copy paste work, right? So when you have innovated the continuous delivery, you will be configuring by some script, which is a task again. So what I will do, anyway, you have uploaded the package which generated by the continuous integration, and you will be uploaded into this some specific network share path or any storage. So the continuous integration, as soon as it trigger, it will download the packages from the storage, and then you will be configured where I wanted to deploy, which means where I wanted to copy the downloaded package. So either it could be a virtual machine, it could be your website, it could be a file transfer protocol, it could be any other, the cloud integration. Yeah, you can do the cloud integration as well. So the by detail, you will learn very big picture in the upcoming session. So let's stay on this. So when I talk about DevOps, it's a 50% of development and 50% of operation. So the DevOps, if you want to learn the DevOps, you must learn the software development at least to understand where the configuration need to toggle, how the configuration has been set up, how the environment variable has been used, how the environment, which means how the software, which means if you're in the .NET, you need to understand which tool I need to build it, right? For example, .NET means we need a MS build. If it is Angular means we need a Node.js. If it is Java means we need a JV. So like that, you need to understand at least capable to build the application in locally. So till that, you need to understand the software development. Okay. In operation side, you should understand the code part and network part and the system related things like the events and monitoring. Those things you will be understanding from the operation side. So when you combine together, that is a DevOps. Okay. By the by, most of the people just believe like DevOps, it's a just do the set up the pipeline. Completely not. You have to understand the development first, then you will understand the operation. Then when you integrate together, where you can, it's a place where you can apply into the cloud or physical machine or any your local system. Is that clear about DevOps?
Uh, so this so continuous integration is just pushing the code into the where the source master branch is what you mean, or like every time we push, it will trigger the build and it will report the exceptions.
Okay, 1 second. Okay, so um, yeah, I will come into that actually. I mean, we are in the process actually. I will come into that part. Okay. So GitLab, so as I mentioned, GitLab combines the development and operation to increase the efficiency, speed, and security of the software development and deliver your traditional process into automation way. For example, as I mentioned, GitLab is the kind of open source platform. So Git is nothing but a software where it will allow you to maintain it will allow your development to make speed and efficiency to use in your software development process. For example, let's say you have a platform where you have developed the google.com website, okay, where you wanted to update the everyday logo is keep on changing, right? How the logo is every day is changing. Any idea? Google logo, like they some any special event came and they are changing their logo, right?
Yes.
How that is happening? Any idea? So what they've
I
done
think it's because
every
of
day,
continuous integration. Some
yeah, I mean, there is a before and after. Before means what the development team do, they manually upload the image and then they will build it and they will deploy. That is the initial process has been taken care by any software development company. Nowadays we are using CRM, right? Like CMS, which is content management software, where you can upload in one place, that changes will automatically reflect in the other area. Okay. So when I talk about Git is nothing but a software to maintain your code, where whenever there is a change from the development, it could capable to validate your changes before merging. Like you have an approval process, you have a restriction where you cannot able to merge, where there are a lot of options where you can ensure the security and then increase the efficiency. For example, developer A, developer B working individually, where they are working with the future branch concept. So you will understand the Git workflow strategy, which is the majority of company using the Git workflow strategy, how they are using, they are increasing the performance of the product development, that you will understand. So Git is the integrated into the DevOps process. Majority of times it's a 99% it's an integrator. Still there are some legacy application also placed. So in when you start working in DevOps, 99% Git is involved. Okay, so what it will do, its a duty is just download the latest changes. Okay, and then download the latest changes, or merge the PR through the automation way, that you will understand the stage by stage how the the Git will be used in DevOps properly. Okay, as I mentioned, DevOps. So dev team or development team is a consist of individual responsible for the code development of the project. So operation team is responsible for deployment and delivery of the project. So when you understand the development and operation, when the development team is not available, let's say when we will deploy the particular application, we will deploy the application when the customer or traffic is not not that much. For example, when there is less traffic, like instead of 100% and 10% traffic, we will be deploying. Or else what we will do, we will just send an email to the entire team, like we are deploying, and there will be a maintenance window, which means the website will be down for some time. So that is the delivery time what they will do. So when you start integrate with DevOps, and when you deploy, like in the night time, the development team is working from the general shift, and you are deploying at night time to reduce the traffic, so that your application will not impact majorly. So you are deploying at night time. Let's say there is some issue, okay, when the development team is not available. So as you are the DevOps person, you should understand the code of what is the exception, how we can rectify easily. So when you have a experience in development, let's say you need to change the small variable, okay, in the code. So you don't need to wait for the development team to come and change the code. As what's need to be changed, like small variable need to toggle, or some values need to be updated in the development code. As you are the DevOps person, you just change, okay, and then commit the changes immediately. You deploy the bug fix, which is called critical hot fix, critical issue or hot fix issue. That's how the DevOps team will call. Okay, so as I mentioned, so customer will send the customer will provide the requirement, and development team gather the requirement and do the development and testing, and then operation team, who's the people who's going to manage the application and server. So we have a small gap in between. The development team or testing team does not understand whether it's a Linux machine, it's a Ubuntu, or is it a Windows machine. They thought, like, let's say they developed the application using .NET framework, where the operation team need the no application need to be deployed in .NET Core. By default, both the team, whatever they build individually, does not meet. So the gap will be there. So the gap is nothing but a DevOps. So when you have a DevOps people, which is fulfill the gap, then the DevOps person is the person who is going to manage the operation on your server, everything, and also you understand the development and testing, what is happening with the product changes. So he will clearly fulfill the gap, and he will can able to guide while doing the development itself. That is why we needed DevOps to fulfill the gap between the development and operation team. Okay, so what gap? So most delivery of software features testing in development environment, not the delivery environment. So what are the developer or testing people who are working in local or some server? It's not the production environment. So what we will do, we have a set up a production environment. So we will set up the environment variables, the connectivity between the third party services, which will understand by the DevOps person. So by when you have understanding the gaps, then easily you can guide them like, no, you are doing with your local environment. That will not work in the production environment as you understand the system, the production system. Okay. So as I mentioned, the development system and the production system is not the same. Okay. And I mean, the development team will not care about the infrastructure or what are the changes what they done in the development. It will impact on the code changes. As you are the DevOps person, you will understand the changes as the infrastructure and also the impact of the changes what the developer commit. Okay, so as we talked about the gap and the waterfall approach and the legacy gate, and so DevOps is the best solution to for the all the challenges. So as I mentioned, the DevOps, it's integrated with the three things. So one is, I previously talked about the DevOps, which is development and operation. Now you will ask, Satish, you told only development and operation. Now you are selling QA. So QA, when I talk about QA, does not mean you are going to do the functionality testing. Okay, you are not going to do any functionality testing. Whereas the quality assurance as a test cases, you will integrate with a pipeline. For example, I have developed a website which is in the .NET application, and where I wanted to deploy in the service in the some Windows machine. So DevOps is fit. And when I talk about QA, I wanted to validate the particular changes what the developer had done. I wanted to validate like there is a use cases or unit testing or test cases which prepared by the QA team, where they will provide a simple jar file which is called Selenium automation. In your understanding, I will do Selenium automation in the local, but when I try to do in the development in the production, the difference will be vary. So what we will do, we'll set up the CI, and CI is nothing but it could be part of the testing as well. So I will build the changes, I will temporarily deploy into the development environment, then I will just validate with a QA, which is a test cases by using Selenium. Then I will, once the both scenarios clear, then I will go for the operation. Okay, so we will talk more in the test cases, how the test cases will be integrated with the pipeline using the DevOps CI/CD, that we will do more use cases or classes in the upcoming training. Okay, and this is the automated deployment pipeline where it will start with a CI and CD. So it will validate with your code changes, build failure, errors warning, and everything is success. Then we'll set up the CD, which is where I wanted to deploy. Is it a physical machine? Is it a cloud service? Is it any mobile app deployment? Like uploading your APK file to Play Store. Everything has been automated. This is a complete CI/CD. I hope I never talked about the versioning control. So versioning control is it's a system where I wanted to maintain the changes in specific versions. When you develop your initial changes, the particular we talked about cycle. So the version 1.0 is nothing but a wheel. Okay, you have a prepared solution. You have prepared a product, and the product version is called 1.0, where you have a wheel, right? And then where you have deployed that in production. So the wheel is you can see. and where the other sprint in the agile methodology, the sprint second, which is started, and they have wanted to integrate with the wheel and tire. So the both we have a already existing code which is 1.0, and we have 2.0, which is nothing but it's a upgrade from the version 1.0 to 2.0, where we will implement the tire. Okay, and at last both, once the both are by default the version 1.0 will be available in the production. In the development side, you are upgrading the 1.0 to 2.0. Once both are you just evaluate everything in QA environment, then you launch into the production called 2.0. Now we have a 1.0 plus 2.0, and now that we have a latest changes 2.0, where you can see the wheel plus tire. So this is a very big topic which I was telling, like Git workflow strategy. So we will see in upcoming training. Okay, and the versioning control, as we will keep on keep our output into the version like 1.0 or 2.0. Let's say you have a deployed 2.0 in production. Client says, no, there is something wrong. I wanted to know, roll back the changes. So you don't want to build the changes of 1.0, which already built and we have a output of the package. We immediately roll back through the pipeline itself, or you have an option, any other rollbacks, steps which you can integrate in your pipeline. If the client say, no, I think there is something wrong with the version 2.0, I wanted to go back to the version 1.0, which is a running version. So immediately you switch back to the version where you don't need you don't need to run the CI again. Clear? And another part is continuous monitoring. So what we will do with the continuous monitoring, we will do evaluate the particular project, whether it's there is an exception or anything, failure like a 500 error or 400 error or unauthorized error. Every error or any particular application ups and down, or the particular application of the machine is going with 100% CPU or 100% RAM, everything you will monitor and do the performance and load test whenever it's required. Okay, so most of the product company, what they will do, they will do with the automated performance testing, automated load testing, automated API testing. There are a lot of testing which they will integrate in the pipeline. Okay, and post that we have a better collaboration among the individuals. So as you are working with the development team, and you are working with the cloud team, and you are the operation team, so you understand the all the project end to end. So if anybody come into the new person coming to the project, if instead of giving the the developer, when you are giving the KT, the overview of the project, you will be the best person to provide the KT because you understand the system entirely. Okay, so we saw the before DevOps and after DevOps. So what we have, so we have a customer, and the customer requirement is there, and development is there, and testing and operation team. We saw the gap. We see the gap, and when you apply that DevOps, you have a customer requirement, and now we have a DevOps. So DevOps, as I mentioned, it's a process. First you do create, okay, and then first you plan and create and verify and package and release and configure and monitor. So create is nothing but just run the pipeline, and then verify, like it's a build packages, everything is verified, security check, vulnerability check, everything, and do package and do release. Release is nothing but a deployment and configuration, and then monitor. So configure is nothing but a environment variables and monitoring alert, like a triggering to the email, triggering to the Teams, triggering to the Slack notification, and then you use the CI/CD, then deploy that into server. Okay. So DevOps terminologies. So we have some people will call pipeline, some people will call continuous integration, some people will call continuous deployment, some people call CD in the different term, continuous deployment, continuous delivery. So we have a two terminologies, okay, for CD. So pipeline is nothing but a set of automated process and tools. As I mentioned, it's a bulk of task, which is could be a Python script, it could be the command prompt, command line, it could be the batch script, it could be the shell script, it could be anything like any scripted, right? Because every time when you run any system, like any application, it internally use the command only. That is a Windows, GUI, which will hide you the what kind of background process. But as you understand the process, you set up the pipeline as the task by task, how the things need to be moved forward. Okay. An integration tool to ensure the continuous integration and deployment, where we have a Azure DevOps pipeline, we have Jenkins, we have a Bitbucket CI/CD pipeline, we have a AWS code pipeline. So we have too many pipeline software which is available in the market. And code analysis and testing and maintenance. So when I talk about code analysis, I hope the development team will understand what is code analysis. Whenever there is a code you have done, I wanted to validate with the code, like the particular variable have a memory issue, the particular code have the security issue or vulnerability issue, or I want to validate with the code quality. So there are a couple of software which do the code analysis and then do the testing, which is unit testing, or there are some other testing for the development team, and then you will maintenance will be there. Coming to the continuous integration, it's nothing but to integrate the code changes by each developer to keep their main branch up to date, which means whenever there is a changes you've done from the development team, you wanted to merge the changes to the main branch, so that the changes which you have worked, that will be merged into the main branch. Then you can start build your project. Okay. So continuous deployment after each commit. So we will be set up this pipeline. I want to trigger automatically whenever there is a commit which is happened from the GitHub or any Bitbucket or Git, that I wanted to trigger automatically instead of going and manually clicking the run the pipeline button. Okay. Also, we will integrate with the automatic rollback if there is a deployment fail. So when I talk about automatic rollback, so what the company will do, they will set up the pipeline, continuous integration, continuous deployment, and post the deployment, they will do the testing. The manual, instead of manual testing, there will be load test, there will be performance test, there will be QA test, everything they will test. And if 3 test cases, one of them fail, then I will roll back this automatically. I will treat like this particular deployment is failed. Okay. So there are many tools for the DevOps, which I just displayed here, only couple of them. So we talked about the Git, right? So we have Git here, which is a GitHub. It's another the website which is providing free workspace to learn the GitHub. And we have a Bitbucket, and we have Jenkins. Sorry, we have Azure DevOps repository. We have a AWS. What is that guy? Uh, code base, and there are so many people provide the Git, but majority of things. But at last, concept is simple. Git is the common tool where you can do the same operation. The only thing, the server, the data, the changes which is going to store, that is the only changes. By using, you will connect with the Git only. And we have a developer who do the source code, and that guy will commit the changes in the repository, and you do build, Okay, you do static code analysis, which call Sonar Cube, or we'll use Veracode scan. So Sonar Cube is game. So we'll use SCA code analysis tool, and we'll use JUnit, and in .NET we have unit test cases where you can build it, and then you generate the build report, like the logs of the particular build, and then you upload that particular output package into the artifacts. If your application is wanted to deploy into the Docker and Kubernetes, then you build with a report and artifact as the Docker image, then push into Docker registry. And we have a Kubernetes where you have kind of deployment environment. Then once you deploy it, then the operation team or monitor will be set up. Then it will just ensure, like the application is going down, or any exception is occurred more than 10 times within 1 hour, everything you can get a alert. So this is a complete cycle process. These are the tools which there are major variety of tools available. It will be only we need to understand the use cases, right? But once you start learn the CI/CD, the concept, if you understand, you can able to play and work on any CI/CD tool. If you understand the build process, you can able to play, you can able to set up your CI/CD in anywhere. If you understand the static code analysis, you can able to use SonarCube, you can use the Veracode, you can use any other prop, the third party company you can integrate. So only thing what you will learn here, it's the majority of tools, the DevOps, how they will look like, and what is the understanding you will learn here. So this is the again another additional tools which we signed before. So we have a Confluence. It's a project management. It's a wiki which is maintaining your documentation. We have a Jira. Jira is nothing but a project management software. Git, which is the source code management software. And we have a Docker where you wanted to build the Docker image and build, ship, and deliver. We have a AWS, which is a cloud platform where you can deploy or run any of your application. And we have a Chef, it's a configuration management software. Ansible, also the configuration management software. There are different types of configuration management we have. Kubernetes, it's the another you could able to use with the the cloud computing feature with the by just installing the Kubernetes, where you can use the load balancer or toggle the deployment. Whereas if you are just deploying in the virtual machine, it will be like very difficult to manage. So we have a Datadog and Splunk and Nagios. These are the monitoring tool where we can monitor the applications or monitor the issues, like what's going on with our current system. Everything will uh, monitor. And we have release, we have Jenkins, Azure DevOps, CodeShip, and we have a test cases, Selenium and JUnit. And build, we'll use MS Build, Maven, or Angular, Node.js. We have so many tools around that. Okay, so almost we are close to the meeting. So this is a final workflow, how the DevOps pipeline will work. So we have a source code, the who commit the changes, and then that will be pushed into Git repository, which is a source code repository. And the Jenkins or Azure DevOps will be understand there is a code has been committed, the new code changes has been committed by developer, and as soon as it detect, and it will understand, like, okay, I need to start the CI process. So it will just download the latest changes, will call git checkout, and then the Jenkins, the pre-configured set of pipeline task, which is a build command, that will build and test and code quality and containerize and artifact storage. So this is the process. We'll use the CI process, and then we have a deployment, we will be deploying that into AWS or any machines or any cloud computing services. Then we'll have a monitoring like a Datadog, Prometheus, Grafana. There are so many monitoring software which you need to understand only the monitoring. What is monitoring? So it will just monitor application exceptions, and then just feed show that into the chart overview or the data presentation view. You will be understand, okay, there is something happening with the application which I need to take a look. Okay, so this source code repository will write and commit, and then developer do the things. Okay. Okay. So automatic build, which is used to set off executable tasks that are ready for the deployment purpose. So we do commit and build it and convert that into executable format. Then we'll upload that into artifact. By the way, whatever you have seen, it's a very, very high level. When you get into the real training, you will understand the step by step. First, you will understand the Python programming language. Then you understand the development environment. Then you understand the Git workflow strategy, which is how the development teams are working, and how the project management software get involved in the Git. And you will understand the CI, which is a Jenkins or Azure DevOps, and CD part. Then you will understand the Docker and Kubernetes. And we have prepared the use cases like how to, from start to end, when there is a small project like like a website where it has the microservices architecture. Let's say uh, disconnected architecture. Let's say the piece by piece is running like the employee module or stop module, piece by piece run individually. How we are going to communicate and get the data from the front end. Okay, so we have artifact storage, which is again when I say artifacts, like this is another kind of repository where you can import or you can push your output package into the repository. So the code repository is different, and artifact storage repository is totally different. The code repository contain your pure development code. The artifacts repository, which is nothing but a build output that will be stored as a versioning control. So by default, we have a JFrog artifacts, and we have a DevOps, artifacts, and we have a Nexus artifacts. Those are the majority of company who maintain the versioning control with a detailed, you can able to toggle the version very easily, so that you will understand when get into the big picture. Okay, containerize the application. So I hope you understand the development. The very big issue between the development and operation team or QA team, the development guy who working in Mac machine, at last the project wanted to deploy that in Windows machine. So developers point of view, my code is working in my machine. If that code is not working in your machine, please check you from your side. If the both people are working, let's say .NET 4.6, and then another developer working on .NET 4.7, they will fight each other, like one future working my machine, other future is not working, whereas the production version is totally different. So this kind of debate will be happen between the team. In order to fix this issue, there is an innovative product came called Docker. So what it will do, it contains your library. It contains what version you are going to run. It contains the minimum OS, which is a Linux OS or Windows OS, and then your runtime libraries and your package as the application output. This is the contain, the three elements is contained as a Docker, where you can run that into Kubernetes. So Docker, it's a kind of image where you are going to run into the some space is called Kubernetes. This is very big topic where you will learn later sometime. Okay. So is it very easy to deploy and to maintain the the production? It is from the start. The developer will be running the same version, and the QA people running the same version. The production will be running on same version. So there won't be any issue, right? So when you're running with the different versions and you see some difficulties while running the application, so this particular Docker containerize will resolve those kind of issue. So we have a variety of deployment cloud. We are deploying with the Microsoft Azure, AWS, Google Cloud. We have a E2E, we have Oracle Cloud and DigitalOcean. There are so many cloud-related, cloud-based deployment server available. Still, if you want to run in your own private server, still you can use the CI/CD pipeline to deploy your application into the private server, which is on-premises server. And monitoring and logging, which I mentioned, like continuous code monitoring is essential part of the DevOps pipeline. So whenever the application is throwing some exception, or application going with the high performance application, frequently restarting, everything you can able to do the monitoring and logging, where there will be the team, like the monitoring team will be placed. So if there is no monitoring team, you will be the monitoring and logging team, which need to be taken care of the issues of the DevOps side. Okay, so I just shortened the last 4 to 5 slides. Okay, so there's about the overview about DevOps training, but when you get into the real training, you will see the big picture with the hands-on experience, with the hands-on use cases, like we have active region. Let's say what is meant by active region. Active region is nothing but you are running into two region. One is US, another one is UK. You are running two region, which means whenever there is a people coming from US, that request will reach to the US server. Whenever the people coming from UK, that I need to reroute to the UK people. So that is the geolocation based routing, and then how that routing is happening through the active. And we have a active passive. Active passive is nothing but when, let's say you have a developer product, which is a healthcare project. I mean, it's a banking project where you are disabling, majority of transaction at night time, right? Because we have a less traffic. So what I will do, if I have any changes which I wanted to deploy, let's say the India is running version 1.0, and then we have East Asia, which is Singapore is the another region. So what I will do, I will deploy the changes in Singapore. I will ensure like all the changes are working properly. Using the traffic manager, I will route only the 5 to 10% of customers to the Singapore and ensure like all the application are working fine. As soon as start working, I will set the default server, which is a Singapore. I will set India is the I will make it down, which means all the traffic will route to Singapore. Once I deploy the same thing in India, then I will route back the same traffic to the India. This is active passive. And we have a zero downtime deployment where we can use the cloud computing. Majority of cloud computing provides a zero downtime deployment. And by default, Docker Kubernetes innovated for the zero downtime deployment. And we have a blue-green deployment where it's a equivalent to the active passive, but the concept wise is totally different. Also, we have end-to-end, from scratch to till production and monitoring. We have 4 use cases ready where you will learn in some time. So questions are welcome. So I have completed from my end, so you can ask me the question.
So, are we going to work with the Azure portal also, like creating resources and how the subscriptions are managed and how the
Really?
resource?
Yeah, yeah, really. Let me. Okay. Second. Okay. So. mm, okay, sorry. Teams calendar. Okay, I'm resharing my screen. So here we go. So these are one of the use cases. You will understand like how we will be running the application. So this is a kind of the front end. We have a application gateway, and we have a Kubernetes services where we have 6 application running internally with a secure way where you cannot able to call directly, and we have a database. So everything is this is Azure. So in this, when I ask you to know this is a architecture diagram, I will help you to complete these use cases by implementing in the individual uh, candidate account, which means you will understand how the DevOps will be set up, how the monitor will work, and how the entire application, working. So everything we will also, create the Terraform. Okay. So this is the one type, and we have another one. So this is the for AWS. So you will understand the case studies of different type of case studies, right? So you will understand the cloud computing in both Azure and AWS. I hope you clear, right?
Yeah, and so for this, we will be provided with the test accounts or some training accounts.
No, basically
Subscription.
you can get it. So you can get it with a free account by just signing up with debit card like 2 rupees.
But we will be charged for.
No, you will not charged. You will have a $200 credits where you can run for whole month. Then just throw it, and then you can get one more. You can use a different debit card and get one more.
Mm.
Yeah. Any other questions, guys? So are we good, right? So I would like to understand the feedback which is in the LinkedIn page which I shared. It would be good, like just give the feedback like about the session, and also you can just share the same feedback in WhatsApp group if you are in the group.
Satish, I have one question.
Yeah.
Yeah. So in this DevOps, what's the role of agents?
Agents.
Yes.
Okay, so let's say nowadays the company wants to have their code, to maintain in secure way. If you are running a company, like, let's say you are running a company with a product, some development, and that is very complicated project, which is you got only pattern. Okay, or means you are the only first company who's doing that particular, for example, chat gpt. Okay, if I run this particular CI/CD process in the public server, even though Azure is the, you do NDA between the company, they will not take your code, but still you wanted to run that in secure place. So in that case, we have a public agent, we have a self-hosted agent. So public agent will be the cloud agent, which will be, use cases when you run the CI/CD pipeline, the agent will be available for the at the time. As soon as you done your CI/CD process, you destroy. Okay, and you don't you I mean, as your company, you don't want to believe like, even they are, creating and destroying. You are fear on that, so you don't want to do that. Then in that case, you can go for the self-hosted agent, which is a private agent, which is your own service, own machine. Let's say you have some machine, physical machine which you bought and then kept in your office. So you can configure that machine as the agent, self-hosted agent. Whenever you run any pipeline, the code will be running in your local machine, not on the cloud machine. So you are confident that, okay, my code is not shared to any public agent. That is the agent.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
I have one question, Satish.
Yeah.
So here, agile is a methodology which is used to develop the code and build and deploy. Actually, here in DevOps, it's a practice. How it is used in the agile methodology? Actually, it might be a silly question, so
Yeah.
I need to get the answer. Yeah.
Yeah, it is real question. I mean, it's a very good question. So, agile methodology, we have a three set of people. In each methodology, we'll have a three set of people. If you are a new software development, and the team will be like the dev team, we have a scrum master, we have a product owner. Okay, product owner is nothing but the person. It might be the client, or the product owner is nothing but understanding the project. Okay, who creating the task. Okay, and the scrum master is a role to ensure, or communicate between the product owner and scrum master, and run this set of planned scheduled meeting. Okay, that is the scrum master role. And dev team, let's say if I have only development, which is the designing team, can I able to complete the project? In waterfall approach, you have a first requirement, which is a business intelligence team will come. You have a design team where you have a UI UX team will be there, and once you complete, you are handing over to the coding, which is the development team. In the agile methodology, you will have one DevOps guy, one UI UX developer, one or two development guy, and one or two QA team. So this is a DevOps. This is a Scrum team. So by putting all the team, and we make a small team, like 5 member of team, we can easily, because we are not going to deliver the big product in within 15 days. We are going to deliver their product in the single piece for 15 days, which means you will be guiding with the proper state, like what's need to be done, what is our environment, whether configuration mismatch, everything you will guide. So The agile methodology, it's a helping the development to make fast and reliable and deliver, whereas the DevOps person will be, the DevOps will be involved the process, because a DevOps guy will ensure the process for the agile very fluently. Is that answer? Is that are you clear with the answer?
Yes, Satish.
Okay.
Thank you so much.
Any questions? If not, we can wind up this call.
Satish, is
Yep.
the agile methodology comes under DevOps?
No. Agile methodology not coming under DevOps. Agile methodology, it's a pure project development strategy where DevOps will help you the make process automation. As I mentioned, the DevOps is a process oriented culture. It's just lead to culture, make more productivity. Okay, so when you club into Agile and DevOps, you will get more performance. Because when I say if you don't have a DevOps in Agile team, so what will happen, like you have a dev team, you have a development team, everything is there. Where they will test it? Who is going to take the deployment? So if anybody operation team is placed, right, they will not understand what they are doing with the development. He will not care about. If you place a DevOps where you will help the team to make faster the deployment process by using CI/CD process, and whenever there is a they find any issues by monitoring, you can easily able to resolve the issues by setting up the process, right? We have a CI, we have a CD, we have a monitoring, and we have infrastructure. What infrastructure you are going to set up? Everything the within the Scrum, it will be cleared, right? So you are helping the agile methodology to make more process oriented, automation oriented.
Satish, I have one doubt actually.
Hmm.
So since you said about that network file share path SVN before 1919 2000 replacement of Git. So can you just elaborate how before DevOps how the deployment take place from development stage to the deployment so that we can
Okay.
able to understand where we actually stand, what is the use of DevOps person, what is the need
Okay.
of the
So
hour, so that can you
before DevOps, let's understand between the development and operation. Okay. So the operation guy does not understand what tool you are developing, what project you are developing. Operation team, it's a centralized operation team. Okay. They will work with any project. They will simply manage the server. You need to provide the detailed documentation. So when I used to work 2013 or 12, so what I will do, I used to set up, create the document, like this is my document. This is the steps which you need to follow, which means the operation guy does not aware of our current environment, like do I need to build using MS build, do I need to use things. So what you will do, you build it, you package, and then share that to the development team, operation team. Operation team will just go through the documentation, whatever you shared. There is a steps. Okay, the steps will contain, like I need to open this particular machine, then I need to open the IIS, then I need to copy paste this particular package, then stop it, and then start it, and ensure like the website is up and running. This is the steps you will be provided to the operation team, because operation team is a infrastructure guy, right?
Hmm.
So he will not understand how to run your application, what exception are happening. So it is very complicated to understand what when you have people how to sit together, right? And you gave some step, and he done some step. Totally, it's no miscommunicate,
Mismatch. Yeah, yeah.
mismatch. So and whatever happening in the server side, he will not let you know. Whatever you are doing some mistake, you will not inform to the operation side. So when you have a common people, oh okay, you are trying something with the environment variable, whereas in the server side does not have. So I need to update. So in that case, DevOps person will be understand more easily. And even though the DevOps side, we have multiple, the what I can tell, like the position. We have a site reliability engineer, cloud operation engineer, and we have a DevOps engineer and DevSecOps, which means you will be taking care of the DevOps plus security, which means you will be working with the development, you will be working with the operation team, you will be working with the security team. So DevSecOps. And we have a cloud operations, which is KOps, which is nothing but Kubernetes operation. There are different type of position nowadays in the market, but site reliability engineer is the guy who do development, who do coding, who do maintenance, who do operation setup and end to end. So what the Wipro or IBM, okay, they have only the innovated culture called site reliability engineer. Their expectation is to, I want 10 site reliability engineer on my project. I don't want UI UX. I don't want development. I don't want DevOps guy. So what they're telling, the person should understand from the requirement to till deployment. So you should capable to understand the UI development, and you have to do the coding. You have to do the deployment. You have to set up the pipeline. You have to deliver. You have to monitor. You have to do the code fix, everything into it. That is site reliability engineer. Okay.
Okay. Thank you.
Okay. Any other questions before we wind up? Okay, guys. Yeah. So I think we almost covered 1.5 hours. So thank you very much for joining. So as this is a trial class, please share your feedback on the link which you shared. So it would be helpful for us to just go through the feedback, like what to improve, which area I need to improve. Okay. Thanks everyone.
Thank you.
Thanks, Satish.